In this video, you'll learn some of the key steps on becoming a freelance videographer, including how to get clients and how much to charge. I talk with an up-and-coming young videographer as he takes you through some of the lessons he's learned as he's got started. And we're starting right now. Hi everyone, I'm Carl. Welcome to Next Level Video Marketing, a channel where you get the latest strategies and tips to help you achieve your marketing and business goals through video. Now remember, if this is your first time on this channel and you want to get the latest strategies to maximize the impact of your videos, hit the subscription button below, hit the little notification bell so you don't miss anything. So I'm pretty excited today. I'm joined by Miguel Batista, owner of Batista Media. And what we're going to discuss today is how did you start a video production company? So maybe let's begin by, how did you get interested in filmmaking and what prompted you to make it a career?
Filmmaking and having a video production company, I kind of just fell into it after a while of just making cool videos. How I really got into it was, I used to be a personal trainer. I was a personal trainer for about 3 years, and I was working like 10-hour days, training tons of people, and then I got super sick after doing that for like 3 years. So then I was like bedridden. I actually couldn't even get out of bed for like a good 9 months. Too much pre-workout, too much energy drinks. I was in bed for 9 months, and the whole time I was just, when I couldn't do anything, I was just thinking about all the fun stuff I wanted to do if I got better, because I had to pretty much relearn how to walk again. I was in a wheelchair and then had to move up to a walker, then slowly started doing stuff again. But once I got out of the hospital, then I started getting all these ideas I had in my head and bringing them into reality. So all these dreams I had, all these visions I had in my mind, I started creating videos just to get them out of my head, really just for fun, and started off as a hobby. Little by little, I was posting them, and then people started noticing, and I got hired for a small gig for like $50, then 100, then 150. And then eventually it clicked. I was like, wow, I can actually make a decent amount of money off this. I can make a living off this. Like, what started off as a hobby, and what I feel like for most people, they kind of just fall into it. They never create their first video or start learning how to create videos with the intention of having a video production company or doing it for a living. They kind of do it for fun, and then people start to notice and start to hire them for smaller projects, and then they move up from there. Because even me today, I'm still learning as I go. A lot of the projects I take on now, it's like we're pushing the comfort zone, or pushing outside the comfort zone, and I'm like learning as I go. So I feel like it starts off as almost like a hobby or passion, and then it evolves from there.
Well, no, that's very interesting, because like for me, it's the same thing, right? And I spent a good number of years before this, doing digital marketing. I went the other route. A lot of people are now going through their video production and then to marketing. But like I came from the other way, from marketing to video production. But yeah, it's kind of was just fun to do. And then now it's like, oh yeah, now I can really create some really cool stuff. So
it usually starts off as something that's just really fun. And then in your mind, you're like, wow, this is actually a lot of fun. It doesn't feel like work, or it doesn't feel like an assignment.
Until you get the client that asks you multiple edits and changing the the music, right? You're like, wait a minute, this is not that fun.
Yep, 100%. That is something a lot of creatives, actually, I'm pretty sure all creatives deal with. So just got to have that contract in the beginning and set the boundaries.
Yeah. So when you started, what kind of equipment did you have to start your company, right? You didn't have whatever camera you had now. Like, I'm sure, you worked up to getting, the equipment that now you use professionally.
It's pretty crazy. When I first started, I had a camera that my friend lent me, which is a Sony RX100 Mark III. I didn't even have a stabilizer. My first 3 or 4 projects, I did it handheld. So that pretty much
camera straps?
2 cameras. Yeah,
camera
no,
straps?
Not even camera straps. I didn't even know about that back then. Just like tensing all my muscles so that it doesn't shake. But I didn't even shoot in manual. I was shooting everything in auto. Actually, for the first 9 months of Batista Media, I was shooting everything in auto, and I was like, wait, why does it seem so blurry in this scene, but the next scene it's not blurry? And it's because, because the shutter speed would automatically change throughout the video. But I was just shooting in auto. I didn't even know how to use the manual settings for the first 9 months. My clients liked it. So I just try to crank out as much content as I could with that one camera, the Sony RX100 Mark III, and it was in auto mode the whole time.
How did you actually end up starting to learn how to learn all those skills? Because I know for the first 9 months, that's a lot of months doing all these things and you're just learning on the job and stuff. But how did you start actually gaining the experience to actually, setting your shutter speed, setting your aperture and all the other things that you needed to do?
YouTube has been an absolute miracle for me learning all this stuff. Honestly, there's so much content on YouTube. Actually, more content than you would ever need to learn everything you need to know about videos and cameras and filming stuff. And there's so many good channels. So I was on YouTube like every night for the first 9 months. I was learning all these cool effects and stuff because that's what I love to do.
Yep.
Like learning all these cool effects, masking, and these glitch transitions, all that stuff. Until I was like, okay, I gotta stop shooting in auto because all the shots don't look consistent. So let me learn manual, this and that. And it was, I had to go out and just play around with it. A lot of times when you're testing new things, it's really stressful if you test it on a shoot with a client. So a lot of times I'm just experimenting on my own time because I've tried it before where I'm testing out new stuff on a shoot with a client. I just look like a fool because I'm like, wait a minute, that's not supposed to look like that.
That's amazing. Yeah. But the funny thing, what you said though, was that the clients were like, hey, that looks good. And you know what? Canon R5, right? And then there's so many back and forths about, oh, it overheats, blah, blah, blah. And then Sony's better, Canon's better. And then all the fanboys come out. But I'm like, okay, hold on a second. Oh, shoot 8K, shoot 4K 120, 4K 60. Some people even listening to this are, what the hell does that mean? But the big thing is, I guarantee you, I provided clients 720, they wouldn't even notice, right? Yeah, it's a majority of, they don't. I could give them 4K or 8K versus 720, and they'd be like, it doesn't matter. To that, for most people, except for camera geeks like us, this is great if you have the composition right, if you have the lighting, you have the sound, you filmed it right, you have a story, right? All those things matter way more than the most high-end camera that you can possibly get. If you shoot it on a red, it's cool, but there's all these other things that I think you have to learn first to make you a very good videographer.
Exactly, and I know a lot of people who they want to do bigger and bigger videos, but what's holding them back is them telling themselves that they don't have the proper equipment to do this and that. But it's the equipment will come. But the most important thing is, like you said, if you're able to tell a story and communicate a message, because at the end of the day, it's what can that video do? And that's the most important part, rather than just looking fancy.
Yeah.
There's some clients who they want the perfect quality. There's other ones who they just want the video to work. But me, as someone who produces lots of videos, the main goal is for that video to get results. And second to that is the quality. We always strive for high quality, but the most important thing is we want this video to actually do something, or else they're going to be pretty upset if they drop a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 on a video that just gets a few likes and no sales or whatever.
Yeah. And, I had this conversation with the video agency owner a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about how there's some companies that have dropped 20, 30,000 on one video. And all they did was put it on their website, and not even that. Some people completely forget that part. They chuck it up on YouTube and maybe run a couple ads on it, and that's it. And then the question is, did you get the return on investment on your video? And I love the way you're thinking too, because it doesn't matter the production quality for a lot of businesses. If you can prove that this video generated whatever the business goal was, awareness, lead gen, sales, revenue, whatever it is, that person will more likely hire you back rather than the person who Peter McKinnon style, Daniel Schiffer style video, amazing. But then they're like, well, here you go. It's your job to market. I'm like, okay. But if it didn't bring anything, while that video is cool, it doesn't matter, right?
Exactly. Unless you're KPMG and you like dropping lots of money. I'm just kidding.
Hey, Craig, if you're listening to this. So when you're creating these videos, if I were a business, in your opinion, how much should I pay a videographer, a video agency when I'm looking to hire?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say minimum. I've done projects for $100. like
Mm-hmm.
me going across the city, filming and putting it together. So realistically, I think like 500 is pretty good. But again, it depends on what the project is too. It's like,
Yeah.
are we trying to sell supplements on a big sale of the month, or is this video supposed to attract people to this home to buy? I think they should look at, okay, what's the video intended to do? And if the video is successful in doing that, is it worth the investment for that? So say the video costs $500, but it's going to help you sell $1,500 worth of supplement. Then it makes sense to spend $500. But a lot of times they don't make that connection. So yeah, it really depends on the project, but they should be prepared to spend at least like $500 usually.
If I were to business and I'm looking at, okay, let's say for you, if I was hiring you, how would you break down your work? So it would be, the shoot. Would you break down pre-production, shoot? Would you have a storyboard, script, and then would you have obviously editing and then the video after the fact? And I know some videographers now are actually including the social media breakdowns. It's like, okay, I'll give you a clip for Instagram. I'll give you a clip for TikTok. I'll give you a clip for regular Instagram, one for stories too. How do you break down your costs? Something I also learned too was that you'll also include the wear and tear of your equipment. You're using your equipment, eventually it'll break down. So you have to include a little bit of incremental costs with that too, right?
So for me, typically just to come out and shoot, the price right there would be $1,000. And usually that comes with everything. That comes with planning the shoot, coming up with a storyboard, filming it. And for $1,000, it's 2-hour time limit.
Okay.
And then if they want to add more to that, then it just costs a little bit extra. So like $100 per hour after that. And then the editing, that's included in it. And there's also add-on, which is revisions. So if they want revisions, they get one complimentary round of unlimited revisions. So they could change as many things as they want. And I actually use this software called frame.io. You probably heard of it. It's pretty much just collaborative editing software. So I could upload the video there. In that video player, they can actually draw arrows or make comments or circle things to show like, hey, can we take this out? Can we move this here? Whatever. But I actually have like a revision sheet. Like, this is how we do revisions. If you want to change something specifically at this time to this second to this second, this is what you want to change. So it's very specific. And then after that one round, complimentary round of revisions, then it's $150 per round.
So when you say per round, it's interesting because you said unlimited. So what is your definition of per round?
Yeah. So they tell me to just change a few things. As soon as I go back into the editing program and start doing my stuff and export it again,
that's one round. Okay. So like if I, like, how about if I told you, oh, while you're in the middle of editing, can you do this, is that extra? Or is it like, okay, I'll include it, or it just depends?
Yeah, it depends. But usually I'll just be like, okay, well, since I'm editing already, it's normally if after I deliver the video.
Got it. Yeah.
And then they're like, actually, can we change this one thing? If it's one thing, then I'll be like, okay, fine. But if I've had some projects where like they change one thing, we change it. Then they're like, oh, actually, we want to change another thing. I'm like, okay, just to let you know, bro, like I have to go into the program again and export it and then upload it to Google, then send it to you. It's like, it's
a pain. It's a pain. And then when you say 2-hour limit, what does that mean? Is that, so do you have like a day rate, or do you have like a half day rate? Or is it like per hour? How do you break down your shooting costs?
Yeah, so it's usually honestly per project, because most of the stuff I do, it can be done within 2 hours. Okay. Unless it's a bigger project, which is, for example, I had this video shoot maybe 3 weeks ago, and we did like 11 interviews and got a bunch of B-roll, all of that. The whole thing, that took like 4 hours. Which is actually not that.
You got 11 people to interview in 4 hours. How did you put that? Is like a miracle. Was it like a 30-second clip for each one?
No, it was like some full-on interviews. Yeah, probably like 5 minutes each. But I had an assistant there who was helping conduct a lot of the interviews while I was doing other stuff. I was doing some interviews, but it's actually on my Instagram, the mortgage broker video. And we only used, I think, some of the people, it was only like 10 seconds, something like that. It was like 4 hours long, tons of editing. But something like that was around 3,000.
There's a couple questions too, right? So it's like, so how much does a, let's say 10-minute video cost? Because like there's certain projects, obviously the clients that I've gotten don't really go up to that, the 10-minute mark. You know, they just want the 1, 2 minute, 3 minute. There are some that I do a full interview, but that's a very different style because literally you're just sitting there. They talk and I don't even interview. They have their whole script written out. So they're just talking on camera and you're just making sure that everything works is okay. But do you average your cost based on the minutes of the actual video?
Yeah. Normally I try to calculate the entire project, how much time it would take from planning to filming to editing to possible revisions, all that stuff. But I try to aim to make $150 an hour per hour on the project. But for a 10-minute video, it really depends. Is it like a sit down talking with B-roll stuff, or is it like a full-on montage of all these different scenes? I also go by location too. It's like, how many locations are we going to film at? That's another big thing too. You know, if they want to film in one spot, then go across the city, then across the city again to another spot, then that's like a whole nother story. That probably takes up a whole day.
Do you charge for a kilometer, like for actual distance, or like any driving? It's like, because I've heard some people after 50 kilometers, like outside the range that you're willing to shoot in, they start charging per mile. Usually the rates like, I don't know, 39, 40 cents a kilometer or something, whatever that is, drive distance. I don't know if you've ever done that before.
No, I haven't done that. I usually just say like $100 per extra location or something.
I love it. Now here's a big one. And for me, I got into an argument about this more so because it's my personality. Part of me is like, I don't care, but do you charge extra for raw footage? So for example, if a client comes up to you and says, hey, in addition to the shoot, in addition to the video you're going to give me, I also want your raw footage. What is your stance on that?
Yeah. So for me, it depends. If they want just like a few clips, then I'll be like, yeah, sure. But if they want the whole catalog, or, you know, if it's something like more than 5 clips, right, then I'll charge $100 per gigabyte of footage. And now I've never had anybody be like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's get like 30 gigs of that footage. They're usually like, okay, we'll just take like a few clips. Yeah. But I actually have it in my contract because I know I've read in a bunch of places that this is your footage. Like, this was shot on your equipment. And, you know, what if they hire you for the shoot and then they'll just hire some other editor to put all of this together? Then it kind of defeats the whole purpose of you bringing all your fancy equipment out there and putting in all that effort. So yeah, I go $100 per gigabyte. I have it in the contract. Yeah,
because sometimes for me, it's more of like, if you pay for the external hard drive, yeah, for sure, no problems, whatever, right? Honestly, I don't really keep it. What am I going to do with this footage? And on top of that, I have to store this footage. Do I really want to buy more and more and more storage of footage that I'm going to forget in maybe 3, 4, 6 months? So I don't know. It's different. And I understand the argument too. It's like, you know, it's your property. You shot it. I want to be able to use some of those clips for other shoots that I want to use. Right. So just as long as I get to do that, I'm fine with it. In the end too, I'm sure you can get an editor to redo all that. Filmmakers are very, very, very touch and go on that.
I've never actually had a scenario where somebody paid for lots of raw footage. Most of the time it's like 5 clips. I just have it in that contract just in case they do want like the whole thing. So yeah, I've never had an issue with that.
I think though the people who do ask for it are like bigger organizations and corporations. Even then, most of the time they don't, but sometimes they do. And it's more of like, hey, it's just that we want to repurpose this video for another ad or another whatever that is, right? Whenever I do ask for that, I would say 9 out of 10 times that footage gets put into a drawer and never sees the light of day. Sees the light of day again. The person who replaces me be like, what's this? And they look at it, it's like, oh, that's cool. But that was like 5 years ago. This is useless now. I want to go back to what you were asking about is how did you put a lot of your stuff on Instagram and that's how people started calling you. Is that still how you get clients today? Is it more of word of mouth, or do you actually make sure you put out content and people actually see it and then they reach out?
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of everything, but I'd say my main marketing, platform, is Instagram. And that's honestly where I get like 90% of my business from, believe it or not. Besides the referrals that I get from, people who post on their social media with the videos that I make. Yep. That's a cool thing about creating videos is that it kind of does the talking for you. So people just have to post it up, which they want to post it up, and then everybody sees it. And that kind of, that is your portfolio out there for everybody to see. So they're going to be like, who made that video? Most of it comes cold through Instagram DMs, as in like people reach out to me to do videos. It's like, hey, I want to do this or that, or how much do you cost? That's usually the initial question. And it's usually goes down in the DM. Or I'm part of this networking group, BNI. We do weekly networking and everybody just passes each other referrals. Working that way. But most of it is through Instagram. And I put out a lot of content as well, like of my own personal stuff. I try to film like educational content as well for video marketing and stuff, or creating videos. In addition to that, most of my clients, the videos I create for them, I also post it on my page.
It's less about marketing for them, but it's more marketing for you, right? Like on that note though, a lot of your stuff from Instagram, how did the Corona situation impact you? Did it impact you at all? Or what I found was, because I come from real estate, builders were like, hey, can you shoot? Because we now have no choice but to start doing virtual tours and so on.
Corona actually skyrocketed the business. I was kind of fearful at first for the first week. Like, everyone was almost panicking, like what's going to happen? But then, with these networking groups I was in and the people I was talking to, like, guys, this is the perfect time for us to grow. Like, this is our time to shine, because people can't market really in person anymore. So they're going to move to online. So I had so many more people reaching out to me to do videos, probably like what you experienced with the builders. People no longer something nice for them to have. Now it was a necessity, and they had no choice but to do it. So all the people who were on the fence before, who were thinking about doing video, now it's like, okay, we have to do this. We don't have an option. A lot of people came back and a lot of new people reached out to me, and then we were able to do a lot of work. So like my biggest months were during COVID.
And you've got a good network that, you can kind of tap into. Have you found that a lot of people, because I'm a big one in retainer clients, right? So you don't have to be in the up and down market of referrals, but it's
exactly.
Like you got clients that would want to come back to you on a regular basis.
Definitely. I have three of those. I found what right now where I'm trying to improve in my business is how do we keep those retainer clients? And I guess the way to keep them is how do we really, really track the results from the videos? Because if the results are there, then they'll keep coming back. So that's what I'm trying to figure out in my business right now. Like, what's a better way to track everything to have those retainer clients?
And I'm sorry. So this is such a like self-promoting thing right now. So if you have any questions or you want to know how to promote and actually see the results of your video, I'm going to leave a video up here and in the description below. That was kind of, for me, that was the big belief, because I think that's kind of an advantage for me, is that not only can I produce your video, but I know exactly how to market and drive that ROI because of the marketing background. For me, the big thing is there's so many videographers these days, right? Like you just stumbled upon it. There's so many courses. Those agencies and videographers themselves need to learn how to actually learn the strategic side of the business, but also how to market said video. So market it, and then track it to ensure that ROI of the business, or what the goal of the video actually produced, right?
On the one hand, you have people videographers who can create really, really awesome videos, but they don't know much about the marketing side of things. You know about the marketing side of things, you're just adding fuel to the fire. That's going to set you apart from all the other videographers, because there's a very few amount of videographers, in my opinion, who know about pixel tracking and setting up, strategically putting videos in certain places to lead into like a landing page or whatever. So that is going to totally set you apart, because guarantee there's not a lot of videographers talking about that side of video.
That was kind of the gap that I saw, is that, you know, you have the high producing, and if you were a business, you have a choice. Do you want somebody who can, the production is amazing, but they don't know how to actually help you get the return? Or maybe you get a group or a person, maybe not that high quality or doesn't have the experience, but hey, they can get you that. I would say 90% of the time, the business is going to go with the person who can get the return, right? Because a great looking video that's not shown to anybody and can't produce anything is essentially kind of useless, right?
Totally agree with that.
Do you have anything else to add in terms of, you know, how you're growing your video production business, and for anybody who is thinking about starting?
I would say, you know, for people just starting out, just start by searching on Instagram, some people with a decent sized following or people who have a big network, you know, do some free work for them, get your name out there. And one of the key things I would add in there, it's very important, make sure you add your name or logo at the beginning of the video if you're doing it for free, because when they post that, then your name is going to be on the front of that. That's how I did it with all my stuff.
Oh, so you started with your logo up on all the videos, not at the end, because a lot of people might not even reach the end, right?
Yeah. I had it like right in the beginning, like a cool glitch effect produced by Miguel Bautista. And it wasn't even Bautista Media back then.
That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I actually got to do that because most of my stuff, I just go right into the content. I'm looking at it from a customer point of view. They don't care about who made it. Exactly. They went right into the point, but you still need to get your name out there.
Yeah, for like a split second or, you know, 2 seconds, whatever. But a lot of people, because there's a lot of people messaging me on Instagram, they want to get into videography, but they don't know how to start with a phone, because these phones are awesome now. This is an iPhone. Even if you have an Android, you can make some pretty awesome videos. My first few videos were made with a phone. Like, this is before I got sick and everything. When I was a personal trainer, I was also making some fun videos. They were pretty terrible, but it got me familiar with the whole process of editing and all that. So literally just film something and make it look cool. Like, you could film these AirPods just sitting here on your table, just get a bunch of different angles to the beats of the music. So don't get paralyzed by thinking, what should I film or what's the perfect thing? Just do it. Just learn.
And if you have even a business that you want to target, I think I'd reach out to them and say, hey, could I shoot your product for free? And what company would be like, no? Shoot. If you want to shoot it for free, that's cool. Shoot it, do your best, put your brand right at the beginning. Do that a couple times. Well, guess what? Now you have a demo reel that you can send out and you can show it on your Instagram and people start seeing it, and you know, there you go. There's your start.
Yeah, like I did this video, it was a set of videos for this company before. It was when I first started. So like 2.5 years ago. And I put my logo at the front, or my name at the front. And I'm so happy I did, because even to this day, they run that video all the time on their stories. So every time I see it, and it's like a group of 10, it's like 15 people. So whenever they post it, I'm like, that's my name. Yeah. And it was like 2.5 years ago, and the quality wasn't even the best, but they use it. They maximize that video. So, which is awesome to see. So I'm really happy I put my name on the front of that. Low key slip it in.
Yeah. So anyway, the question of the day I have for you is, how did you get started either as a videographer or running your own video production business? And what are some of your tips? And how about tips that you can share with companies that are looking to hire a video agency or videographer? Let us know in the comment section below. If you want to know more about developing a video marketing strategy, you got to check out this playlist here, as well as this video here on how to promote, distribute, and share your videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.